the chat. Come on, who's excited about Professor Farhat? Today he is with us. Come on, guys, who's excited? Come on, let's blow up the chat. You are the future CPAs. Come on, we are gonna make it together. You are gonna finish BEC before it's gone. We're gonna try before the end of the summer. You must get it. Yes, Jamu says he is a great person. Absolutely, absolutely. Carrie says yes, yes, yes. You are the future CPAs and you are the ones who are committed. You are my committed people because you're here today. For sure, you are the committed people and you're gonna make it. Being here live with us today alone means that you are committed to success and that you want to succeed. Jamu said he is always available whenever you need him. Absolutely. Professor Farhat is always with us, and all his life is for CPA candidates. So we're gonna welcome together. Professor Mansour Farhat, you are the star today in our session, and I'm sure hundreds of CPA candidates are gonna benefit from your valuable and very important information and for your best tips and tricks about the BEC exam. You're gonna change the lives of thousands. So welcome, Professor, and happy to have you today with us.
Thank you, Ala. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for attending. I'm happy to be here. Please don't take this as the only hour I'm here or the only half an hour. I'm always available, but this is an opportunity where we can talk to each other one-on-one. And Allah is doing a great job connecting people and helping CPA candidates. Thank you for everything that you do as well, Allah. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I'm going to do now, I created a poll. I'm not really sure if it's ready or not. I would like you to just to answer a few questions about the poll, just to kind of gauge where you are at this point. What are you using to study, where you are in your path. I'm not sure if the poll is ready. If it's ready, if you don't mind sharing the poll with the candidate, I just want to have a good idea about what students are using. Is this their first section? So on and so forth. I would greatly appreciate it.
Of course, we're going to put it on the chat immediately. We are just preparing it and it will be in the chat. You guys answered the poll, yeah.
Yes, once it's ready, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm assuming I do have, I can share my screen. I'm a host. Let me just check. Share screen and PowerPoint. Yes, I can host. Let me see. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and can you see my PowerPoint slides?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So once again, I'm not sure if you know me or not. My name is Mansour Farhat. I'm a CPA by profession. I help people pass the CPA exam. That's my passion. That's what I do for a living. I love it. I enjoy it. And I'm here today to share with you some information, some tips, some stuff to know about the BEC exam so you are more prepared. Now, as you might know, all of you, the CPA exam, when we say it's going away, it is as a section going away, but the material is not going away. So what's going to happen? The BEC, it's going to be gone as a section. What's going to happen is the material from the BEC, some of it will be put in BAR, which is the Advanced Financial Accounting and Reporting exam, Business Analysis and Reporting. And specifically, real quick, I did not have this on my agenda, but basically cost accounting, managerial accounting, that will be put as part of BAR, BAR. All the IT will be put in the information system and control specialization, and some of it will be in audit, some of it will be in tax, very little in tax, mostly in the information systems and control. So you need to know the information. The information is not going away, but you are better off passing in 2023. The devil that you know, it's better than the devil you don't know. That's the whole idea behind Allah's initiative, is to help you put this behind you. And she did a great job putting a team of presenters together, which is, I'm happen to be one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to show you is the agenda. The first thing I'm going to look at are the pass rates. And I will revisit the pass rates toward the end to discuss. I'm going to talk about each section of the exam separately, each section of the BEC exam very briefly, just to kind of get you an idea. This is what you are being tested on. It's not a mystery. I'm going to show you. I want you to be in a mental status where do I find answers to this information. I'm going to talk about the written communication, which is an obstacle for many students. I'm going to try to give you as many tips as possible. I'm going to talk about the performance report that's given at the end of every exam, especially when you don't do well, and link it to the pass rate and show you how to read those reports and what to be aware of. And at the end, I will have some final tips to share with you about what needs to be done. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to show you is kind of not bad news, but not a good trend. And actually, this should be 2020. This should be 2020. So the cumulative pass rate in 2020 for the BEC was approximately 65%. And BEC historically has the highest pass rate. Notice 2021 went down to 62, rounding, and in 2022, it's down to 60%, less than 60%. So if you notice, the trending of the pass rate is down, that's definitely not good news, but I'm going to try to explain why. I'm going to try to have some reasons why. And we're going to try to talk about the pass rate of 2023 once we talk about the audit report. But anyway, I would love to hear your opinion, your comments, especially if you took the exam. What do you think happened? What do you think you saw differently that it was not, for example, part of your CPA review course? And that's why I'm interested in knowing which CPA review course you are taking. And I want to know is, did you see something on the exam that you did not see in your CPA review course? And that is expected. I'm going to try to explain why. And I'm going to try to tell you how to approach this, because this thing could be terrifying for some candidates, seeing something or a series of questions, multiple questions that they don't know how to answer. They panic on the exam day and it affects their performance in other sections. So we'll talk about why that's happening and what should you do about it, especially when you see a simulation that you don't know what it's all about. Like the topic is you're clueless. Don't worry, we'll talk about this. So I'm going to take the BEC exam and break it down section by section, tell you what's going to happen to this section in the future. Starting with Area 1. In Area 1, what's going to happen is this. You have basically 3 topics in Area 1, and those are Enterprise Risk Management, ERM, Internal Controls, and Business Processes. So any CPA review course, they're going to be focusing on those 3 topics. What do you need to know about ERM? Like, how much do you need to dive into it? Well, you need to know what is ERM, what is the purpose of ERM, and how does ERM manage your risk within the company? So it's not a lot of material in depth, but you need to know enough where you can answer any questions about ERM. The second major topic in this area is internal controls. And this is an important topic. Why? Because internal control is specifically, they focus on the COSO framework. You see it in BEC, but also you need to know internal control in depth when it comes to the auditing exam. So understanding the internal control in BEC, it's going to pay dividend for you. So it's worth investing time because you're going to have to see it again. For one thing, it's going to help you to pass. For example, if I'm studying for BEC, I will know this 100% inside out, no ifs and buts about it. The 5 components of the internal control, the definitions, so on and so forth, and how do they all relate, work as many MCQs as possible. Also, part of an internal control, you need to know about SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley. That's fine. But this is basically what needs to be done about internal control. Topic 3, business processes. And here, again, it's related to auditing, because in auditing, you need to learn about the business cycles, the sales cycle, the purchase cycle, the human resource cycle, the manufacturing cycle. You need to know about these business processes for BEC as well. So here you would learn a little bit more about accounting information system. You also, under business processes, you would learn about SOC, and I believe Allah did 1 or 2 sessions about that topic. You need to learn about controls, preventive, deductive. Here you need to little bit more about structured and unstructured data. We'll talk about that later on. But this is basically area 1 that comprise 20 to 30%. I would say the focus, I'm not saying to focus on one thing, but internal control is extremely important on the exam when it comes to this area. If there's any questions, any comments, please stop me. I can't see the text. If you are typing anything in the text, I cannot really see it. How can I help you when it comes to this? Farhat lectures, I explain the material in details. So for example, on your CPA review course, what they do is they go over the concept real quick without explaining the reason behind it, the theory behind it. And that's what I do differently. So rather than just saying, here are the 5 internal control, A, B, C, D, E, controlled environment, and I'll give you some mnemonics. I don't. I tell you what's the controlled environment, what's the purpose of it, give you examples. So when a CPA review course spend maybe 30 minutes on a topic, I might spend 2 hours, 4 times their time. You might saying, but this is not efficient. Well, yes, if you want to learn the material, you don't learn it quickly. You learn it effectively. Effectively, you take a little bit more time up front, but you'll be able to resolve the CPA questions. So you have to rely on your knowledge. You always have to know why. The reason why is because you have a lot of definitions. You cannot rely on your memory unless you have like a 10 gigabyte computer memory in your brain. The BEC is a monster when it comes to formulas and definitions. If you rely on your memory, you are bound to fail. You have to understand the why behind things. Now, certain times you have to rely on your memory, but minimize that. So that's why you have to understand it. Area 2 is econ. And by the way, ERM, those topics, most of them will be in auditing. So most of them will be in the auditing section. They're transferred to the auditing section, most of them. Area 2 economics. Now, that's not my specialty, but I can tell you what's covered on the econ section. And that could represent up to 25% of an exam, 15 to 25%. You need to know about the economic and business cycle, the market types, expansion, recession, trough, fiscal policy, monetary policy, market influences on business, especially supply and demand, inflation, fluctuation in currency, financial leverage, financial risk management like interest rate risk, liquidity risk. This is what you need to know about econ. And this section is not going away. This section will be part of BAR in the advanced certification of BAR. So it's not, so when we say BEC is going away, as an exam, as a section going away, all the topics you're going to see later. So if you're saying, why should I study hard if it's going away? No, study hard in 2023. Hope you pass it. If you pass it, that's great. If not, everything that you learn about, you'll be able to use if you chose, obviously, if you chose that specialization. So if you chose BAR, you'll be able to use the econ. Now, again, I'm not the expert in econ. I don't even have lectures about econ. I do have multiple choice questions on my website, hundreds of them, especially previously released questions, which will help you if you are studying for the exam. But that's all what I can tell you about econ. Just know it. Now, what will be helpful for econ, in my opinion, if you kept your macro or micro textbook. So even if you did not keep them, but you feel the CPA review course is not really going in depth because they're just giving you, highlighted the points, buy a used macro or micro textbook from Amazon. You can buy something for $7, $6, $7, $8. And what you do, you would use this book to dive deeper into the concept, look at examples so you can understand it. The key is understanding. The key is understanding. Area 3, financial management. Here, you have to know a lot of stuff. Like what? You need to know the dividend discount model, DDM. You learn about this in your finance course. And the dividend discount model will assume you know the time value of money. And this is where the CPA review course start to skip over things. For example, they will tell you discount this over that, but in reality, they don't tell you how the discount work, how do you discount? If you don't know the time value of money, you're in trouble as is to start with. So how are you going to understand dividend discount model if you don't understand the time value of money? That's an important topic. The second topic on the exam will be, not the second topic, another topic will be under this section is CAPM, capital asset pricing model. Again, it's a basic formula, but you need to know it inside out. I'm looking at the polls here. There's 6 more to go. I'll wait a minute until everybody answers. Just want to get a good idea. I mean, I'm expecting more to be using Becker, but let's wait. There are 6 more people haven't answered the poll. So if you haven't answered, I'll give you a minute to answer. Please take your time. Four more people. I will wait. So it's trending as close to half. 44% are using Becker, which is that's understandable. None is using Surgent. 30% using Wiley. That's the second one. Gleam, Roger, and 1 person using Miles. Excellent. Again, I will talk again. All these CPA review courses, in my opinion, they're good enough. It's how you use the material. They all teach you the same material, except the delivery. How do they deliver those concepts to you as a student? But I'm not surprised that still the majority, almost 40% using Becker. So under this module, you need to know about the internal rate of return, IRR. Where do you learn about these? In your finance course, managerial accounting, as well as cost accounting. You need to learn about the payback period, the EVA, economic value added, basic financial modeling and forecasting. The reason I'm showing you the topics is to demystify. I know you know the topics, but to demystify the concept. You should have already learned these topics in college. If you have not, if you have any weaknesses, this is where I can help you, or my YouTube or my website, farhatlectures.com, will be able to help you in these topics. IT, and this is the mystery. This is the, I guess, information technology. Yes. Give me 1 second, please. Let me just fix this real quick. Information technology. And this is where students are finding hard time, or at least based on the feedback that we're getting from students about IT. There's a lot of mystery going on here, but let's go over some topics that the IT by the blueprint, they mention you need to know. For example, the role of IT personnel, process strategies, and IT governance. You need to know those. Basic information about hardware, software, databases, definitions, network, so on and so forth. Cloud computing, outsourcing, and SOC. Again, notice the SOC, you saw it in the enterprise risk management module. You will see it here. You need to know SOC 1 and SOC 2. Again, Allah did a 2 presentation about those. 1 or 2, I'm not sure. How many did you do, Allah? 1 presentation?
Tomorrow, actually, I'm going to do a session about that.
Okay, tomorrow she'll have a session. Make sure you know your SOCs inside out, and I'm sure Allah Shul does a good job, because this is going to be an important topic also in 2024. Risk associated with IT. Again, risk associated in IT, it's covered now, and it's going to be covered much, much more in 2024. So in 2024, they're emphasizing more risk, they're emphasizing more data, they're emphasizing more visualization when it comes to IT. Risk assessment, change management, that's also another big one. When you make changes, how do you organize those changes? Change management. Security, availability, confidentiality, and privacy. That's those topics, each one of them in 2024, those topics are all combined in one blueprint. In 2024, these topics will be discussed differently, Each one of them will be discussed differently. For example, privacy itself. There's so much you need to learn about privacy. So here's what's going to happen in 2023. You might see some questions about privacy, detailed questions. Again, I did not learn about this. Those questions could be testing questions for the 2024. So this is how it works. Before the AI CPA, before they finalize a question, so before they include a question in their database, what they do, they will start to test that question as a testing question in the current exam. So let's assume they want to add 10 questions, 10 MCQs to their databases. What they do, they will add those 10 MCQs to students taking the exam now. They want to test how well students are answering the questions. Is it easy? If everyone is answering those 10 questions 100%, then the AICP would say, this question is easy, we should not include. If 20% are answering that question correctly, then what's going to happen is they're going to say, maybe this question is confusing. And if this question is confusing, they might either reward it or remove it. So that's why they have those pre-testing questions. And what they do, you are the guinea pigs. That's the problem. And especially in 2024, they're adding more questions to the IT section. And in my opinion, as a result of this, you are seeing many questions on the IT sections that you did not see before. And this is what's freaking people on the exam day and affecting their performance. Again, about information technology, let me just fix this as well. About the information technology topics, controls, that's another topic. Controls to respond to risk. This is another important topic that's going to be with us this year as well in future years. General IT controls, application control, logical and physical control, business resiliency. All these topics are important. The reason I'm mentioning them, this is not all the topics, but those are extremely important because they are stated in the blueprint. When something in the blueprint, again, you can access the blueprint, then it's important. Now, when you see something outside the blueprint, most likely it's a testing question. And that's why in my poll now, I ask, how many of you already took BEC? I'm not sure if that poll is out or not. I want to see if any of you took BEC already, and if they saw some questions that they never saw before, and I would like them to share their opinion. So did you sit for the BEC as of yet? So let's see. We have 14 people. We have 3 people already set for the BEC. 4. Okay, I guess 11 are participating. That's right. Allah and the admin, we have 2 other individuals. So the people that took BEC, could you guys relate to what I'm just saying? Did you guys see questions that you did not see in your CPA review course? If yes, please don't mention the question because we are not allowed for disclosure purposes. But if you did see a question, tell us yes, and don't tell us the exact question. Tell us the topic, but not the question is about, and which CPA review course are you using? Just to kind of show you that even all courses, they don't cover certain topics. So I will wait for the chat. If you took, let me see if I can see the chat. Oh, sorry, I stopped sharing by mistake. Let me go back to share screen. I'm going to share the results as well. The poll has ended. Okay, let me see in the chat. Yes, so one individual, W, she stated that, yes, she can relate, Wendy Thomas, and she saw some IT questions on the exam day. Yes, that is expected. So the 7 individuals that have not took the exam, another person, yes, Becker IT, they're using Becker, and they saw some unusual or foreign or weird IT questions. Yes, that's expected. That's expected. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't let it. That's okay. You don't have to. I don't want to take the risk in mentioning the topic. It will be a violation of disclosure. But yes, this is what's happening these days where Rashanta and Kerry basically confirmed this. So for the people that they have not took BEC, just be ready for that. Expect that. When you expect it, you will deal with it differently than just like panicking. It's like, I never learned about this. You know, my CPA prep course failed me. No, Becker is, I would say, one of the best, if not the best CPA review course. At least it's not the best. It's the most widely used. Let's put it that way. All CPA review courses are good. I'm not promoting any course. I'm just saying it's widely used. And for that course not to have certain topics, there's an explanation for this. Those questions are new. That's the reason for it. Now, in 2024, data governance, anything related to data security will be important. Visualization. These topics are covered now, but they're going to be covered much, much more in depth next year. Operations management. What are we talking about here? We're talking about process management, common management technique and philosophies. This is not as important. It's going to be going away in 2024. But what's important in this topic is cost accounting. Again, here, cost accounting. When did you learn cost accounting? You learn cost accounting in college. You learn cost accounting in college. What does that mean? It means if you did not learn it in college, or if you learned it and forgot it, you're going to find difficulty in this section. You're going to find a lot of difficult concepts. Why? Because you're not used to it. And the CPA review course, they're going to go over this very briefly. For example, you need to know about the cost behavior, fixed cost versus variable cost versus mixed cost. How do they interact with each other? You need to know about cost, volume, profit analysis. Again, this is related to cost behavior. Sometimes they just cover CVP without covering cost behavior because they assume as a college students, you know what your fixed cost, variable cost, and mixed cost. You need to know about manufacturing versus non-manufacturing cost, absorption costing versus full costing. And here's Ala doing another session tomorrow, I believe, or maybe she did already, about this topic. So if you forgot this topic, you want to attend Ala's meeting tomorrow, so you would learn about these topics. Process costing, job order costing, over-applied, under-applied, cost of goods sold, schedule of cost of goods manufactured. These are the topics that are covered in this session. Special orders, make or buy, accept or reject, those special decisions that you make based on relevant and irrelevant costing. So this section, I mean, the way I look at it, If you study cost accounting, you'll be able to maximize this section, They talk about planning techniques, budgeting is important, and variances. I have it in caps because variances gives students a lot of problems. There are 8 variances you need to know about. If you don't know your variances, you don't want to sit for the exam. So between variances and those cost accounting concepts, if you understand them, you should be able to ace this section. They talk a little bit about forecasting and projection. Not as important. When I say not as important, that doesn't mean skip. It's just historically not as important. So those are basically the 5 topics. Just browsed, I just browsed through them real quick to give you an idea. So the exam is, I don't want it to be something that's foreign to you. Any questions, comments about this? About the 5 sections? Especially from the people that took the exam or people who haven't, anything before I proceed. I'll wait a minute until we see that there's any comments. Let's talk about the written communication. And this could be very challenging for many people, very challenging, the written communication, especially, again, I'm going to say, if English is your second language, yes, or if you are an international candidate, yes, but believe me, also, US candidate will find difficult time with the written communication, not because it's difficult, because you need to know how to approach it, in my opinion. Okay, you're not going to become a writer overnight. You're not going to become a writer in a week or 10 days. You can improve your writing in week to 10 days, but you need to know, what am I dealing with here? First thing in the written communication, you got to keep it simple. They are not testing you on your knowledge. They're testing you on how can you transfer your ideas from your brain to an email, to a computer, and someone else can read it and understand it. So think about this written communication as writing an email to a coworker, a customer, or your boss explaining an issue. This is what the written communication is. Can you write at least good enough where the other person would understand the issue that you are discussing? Okay. Now, here are some tips I can give you about the written communication. You need to rewrite or address the question in the introduction. So they gave you the question. The first paragraph should be you, because if somebody asks you a question in an email, well, the first thing you do, you want to tell them what you understand from their question. So rewrite the question in your own word, and this will be your definition. For example, dear Mr. or Mrs. blah, blah, blah. This is the issue that issue that you're inquiring about, ABC. Explain the issue in your own words. 1, this is a good communication because now the other individual, the other party knows that you understand what you are asking them. They understand that you understand because you wrote it again. 2, these written communications are graded by a computer. So they want to see if you are focusing on the topic. So when they see the keyword, when they see that you are addressing the question in the introduction, that's a plus to you. Because you don't have an individual grading those written communication. It's computerized. You will do the same thing in the conclusion. In the conclusion, go ahead, address the question, and rewrite the question in your own words, okay? To summarize, this is what you asked me, and summarize the point that you mentioned inside the written communication. So make sure you would use the keywords. If they're talking about variable costing, you would mention variable costing. If, for example, variable costing in contrast to some other costing, if they're asking you to explain process costing versus job order costing, you mention those keywords in the introduction as well as at the end. You wanna plan 2 to 3 paragraphs. Every topic, you're gonna have at least 2 points to talk about. For each point, also build a paragraph for each point. And within that paragraph, have, for example, introductory statement, an ending statement, and something in between in 2 to 3 sentences explaining that subtopic that belong to that topic. Okay, so an introduction, 2 to 3 paragraphs, even 2 paragraphs, and a conclusion. Again, using keywords. Keep it simple, short sentences. Short sentences, don't write complicated long sentences. Again, the computer is grading this. It's easier for the computer to look at short sentences. There's a verb-subject agreement, good. From a grammatical point of view, you're in good shape. And versus a long sentence where you confuse the software. And I'm pretty sure the software will like, yeah, this sentence is not good. You know, especially if your English is a second language. Don't use long sentences. Find someone to critique your writing. So when you're practicing, write a paragraph. You can post it on Reddit. You can post it anywhere you want to and tell people, please critique it. Critique it for me. Tell me what's wrong with this. Your friend, maybe your buddy. By the way, in the near future, this is, I should not be saying this, but I'm going to say this. In the near future, on my website, you're going to be able to connect with all your not coworkers, all the people who are studying for the exam. So it's going to be like a social media network inside my website, and you can share those writing. But again, that's coming down the road with other students to critique it, which is really good. But give me another month or so. Find someone to critique. This is inside information, by the way. So find someone to critique your writing, even if you have to pay someone, 2 hours to help you. Find someone that does this, that's willing to do this. For example, if Ala is willing to do this, you'd say, okay, would you mind looking at this? For example, I'm not the best at this, but find someone who's willing to do it and pay them some money. It's worth the investment. They can tell you, especially if they're good at it. Don't find anyone. So you need someone to critique your writing. Avoid pronouns. Avoid using pronouns because it's going to confuse the computer. And when you use a pronoun, make sure the reference is clear, because you don't want to, again, a computer is grading you. A human is out of the picture. A human is out of the picture. Try not to keep any written communication blank. Here, I'm going to tell you why. I saw a report, a score release report, where the individual was basically strong on every topic except the written communication, even simulation, and they failed. And I was shocked and asked him, what happened? He said, I kept the last 2 written communication blank. This individual did a great job answering the MCQs, the simulation, like stronger on every single matrix, except did not finish the written communication. I'm pretty sure if he wrote a paragraph for each, like 2-3 sentences, he would have passed. So try not to keep any written communication blank. Try to memorize certain phrases that they go with everything. For example, I'm writing back to you to explain this issue, or in conclusion, I'm going to have to say the following, like certain statements that you could use for any possible written communication. You need to practice. You're not going to become a writer overnight. I understand, but that's not what they expect you. They don't expect you to be, an excellent writer, to write novels. They expect you to write an email, a business communication. This is what the written communication is about. So don't overthink it. Think of it, writing an email, and pretty sure we all can write an email. Okay, let's take a look at this. And let me talk about the performance report. So when they send you those performance reports, you have to read them very carefully. And for 2023 and for the BEC, those reports are extremely important. Why? Because this is how the report reads. It's your performance. Oops, sorry. It's your performance compared to passing candidate. So how are they grading you in 2023 or in any year is how you did compared to others. And here's what's happening in 2023. What do you guys think happening in 2023? More people are taking the exam or less people are taking the exam? Who wants to guess? Are more people taking BEC or less people? Come on, let's see. Let's see in the chat. More. Excellent. More people are taking BEC. And let me tell you this. As more and more people take BEC, most likely higher quality students are taking BEC. So students who graduated from good school, they learned their cost accounting, they're ready to go for the exam, they're taking BEC. And what's happening is this. They are raising the bar. They are raising the bar for others. Because this is comparable. When they say you're comparable to others. When you're stronger compared to others. When you're weak compared to others. So what's happening in 2023, especially for BEC, this is my theory, more good quality students are taking BEC, just like everybody wants to take BEC, get BEC out of the way. What is that going to do? It's going to raise the bar. So for example, in 2020, let's just go back and just give an example. You took BEC and you did average, on average. but everybody else was below average for that period. Guess what? You passed BEC. Why? Because you did average, and everybody else, your performance compared to other passing candidate, they were below average. Same thing, you took BEC in 2020, you scored average, and everybody else was above average. If everybody else was above average, then you will fail. And this is what's happening now. Or again, let me rephrase. This is what I think is happening now. More good quality students are taking BEC. As a result, they're raising the bar. Therefore, it's going to be more work for you to pass. More work for you to pass. That's my theory. Again, this is the third time I say this. This is my theory. What do you guys think about this? Because look, it's your performance compared to passing candidate. So if the passing candidate didn't do well and you did little better than them, you're going to get either a comparable or a stronger performance and get that 75 magic score. Okay, let's take a look at some few final tips. BEC involve many definitions and formulas, many. You cannot memorize BEC. You cannot memorize BEC. You got to understand as much as possible. You cannot rely on your memory. And this is where Farhat lectures can help you. This is where I can help you with understanding the material, understanding the why. Once you understand the why, it's easy to recall. You don't need to memorize, but if you see it, you can go back and say, okay, this is how I solved this based on my knowledge. Connect with other people. Join my social media platform, which I'm going to show you in a moment. Join other active groups. You need support in this process. Like what you're doing now is a great thing. You're learning about this. Find a mentor. Again, if you want me to be your mentor, I'll be more than happy to be your mentor. On the next slide, I have my social media. You can connect with me. Don't play Russian roulette with the exam. The exam is adaptive. What does that mean? Don't try to guess. Russian roulette is basically guessing what's going to be on the exam and studying based on what other people are telling me. Wrong. Don't do that. The exam is adaptive. So if they ask you about ERM and you don't understand ERM or you don't understand internal control, they know this. They might give you more questions about internal control just to confirm you don't know this important topic. And as a result, they might fail you. Or they might ask you about internal control, you get the answer right, they will move on. So you don't want to kind of, all topics are covered or all topics could be covered. So don't take your chances. Everything is a fair game. Don't try to guess this is what's going to be on the exam. Today I had a question from a person. I was like, I find it very weird. Usually people ask, which topic are most covered on the exam? This individual asked me, which topic are least covered? There's no answer for these questions. Don't let anyone mislead you into thinking if you focus on these topics, you will be good. And the other topics are not important. Not at all. Not at all. I talk to students on an almost daily basis. Almost daily basis. And with 2 or 3 or 4 more students per day. They took the exam and I talk to them. They tell me what they saw. And no 2 individuals get the same exam or the same topics. It's all over the place. Be prepared for this. Let's go back to IT. Don't panic when you see unfamiliar questions and simulation. You will see them. You will see those unfamiliar questions and simulations. Just say, okay, do your best, answer it, move on. Expose yourself to as many IT questions as possible. Now, what can you do? I mean, this is going way above and beyond, but if you're that desperate, right, and you really want to pass, I will take a look at some information system and control terms and concept for 2024 and familiarize myself with them. For example, SQL. SQL, I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying this. SQL, for example, in the information systems and control. It's not in the current blueprint. Maybe some are seeing some questions about SQL. If you really want to go above and beyond, you can go and look at these topics if you want to. I don't recommend it. I'm just saying, because some people are saying, why am I seeing these questions? Well, supposedly, those are not graded. So if you see something that's not in the blueprint, supposedly not graded. Can I guarantee it? No. Can anyone guarantee it? No. Do we know how they grade the exam? No. We can give you our best effort. And when I say we, everyone, if someone tells you otherwise, they tell you exactly how they grade the exam. They tell you exactly how they count the non-graded questions. They will be lying to you. It's a black box. Just have to do your best. Your most powerful weapon is understanding the concept. So whatever they throw at you, you can answer it. That's all what you can do. That's all what you can do. Any questions, comments before I move to the last slide, which is information how to connect with me? Any questions, comments, anything?
Yes, I have a question, Professor Farhad.
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay. Let's say I already passed the auditing part.
Yes.
Now, I'm working on the BEC now, which I'm going to pass very soon.
Yes.
Okay. Now, they changed the exam in 2024.
Yes.
What would be my situation?
Okay.
Should I take bar? Should I don't know.
Let me see. First of all, when does your audit expire? Does it expire before or after 1/1/2024?
It expired in August 24.
Okay, so you're good. So the audit is good. So you're saying if I take BEC and I pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you take BEC and you pass, what's left for you is RAG, the core, and FAR core, and you're done. And you have plenty of time to finish those. So you should be in good shape.
So
you want to work a scenario where you failed?
What would happen if with the FAR, which FAR I'm gonna pass? Is that the old FAR or the new bar?
No. It's new. Starting 1/1/2024, it will be all new FAR, which is the FAR, the new FAR is lighter. So you'll be happy. You should be happy taking the new FAR because the new FAR is lighter. It's going to have less content than the old FAR. Yes, it'll be the old FAR. Starting 1/1/2024, forget about all the old exams. They all will change. You will take the new FAR, you will take the new RAG, which are the core. Also, the RAG will be lighter.
So now, they call it FAR or bar?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
They call it bar or FAR?
You have FAR and you have bar. You have FAR, which is the core, and you have bar, which is the specialization, business analytical analysis and reporting. This is the specialty. Okay, but if you took BEC, we're saying you passed BEC. If you pass BEC, you don't have to worry about bar anymore. You have to take FAR, the core FAR. You still have to take the core FAR.
That's when by 2024 we will have new material for new FAR. They will have two material, that FAR and bar.
No, it's not new material. If you want to know exactly the material, I have a YouTube explaining the material. The FAR will be lighter. I'll give you, for example, and I'll give you real quick what's going to happen. This is FAR right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the current FAR. The current FAR include intermediate accounting, include advanced accounting, and include governmental accounting. So FAR is 3 courses, really. Intermediate accounting, advanced accounting, and governmental accounting. Are you following?
Yep.
This is the old. The new FAR, it's going to be mostly intermediate. So what's going to happen to the advanced accounting and governmental accounting? Those will be part of bar. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So bar will be the specialty for FAR, but it's just simply specialty. You don't have you don't have to say specialty for FAR. It's the specialty exam, one of the 3.
Oh, okay.
Okay, tell me your concern one more time. Because if you pass BEC, you don't have to worry about bar. You still have to take FAR. It's called the. Why don't we just look at a picture of this rather than guessing? Okay, let me go to my website here. Again, let me go ahead and share my screen again. Give me one moment. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Let me see if it's here, if I have a picture of it. Okay, here's what's happening. Okay, do you guys see my screen? Let me make it a little bigger. So if you finish you already finished audit, right? Let me see if I can snip this. Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me snip it this way I can write on it. Okay. Okay. You said you already finished audit, right?
Correct.
You finished audit, then you finished the 2024. You also finished the core audit. Okay. You finished you want to assume you finished BEC?
Mhm.
If you finish BEC, that's it. You don't have to take any of these specialization. So you're done with the specialization, which is business analysis and reporting, information systems and control, or tax planning. You don't have to worry about those as long as you finish BEC. What's left is FAR and REG. And FAR will be the core FAR, which will be the new FAR, and REG will be the new REG. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yep,
Does that make sense?
correct.
Yes?
That's mean the core in terms of content. Well, okay, you already. That means it would be better for me to sit for those exams in 2024.
Which exams? Which exams?
That's mean if I already had. That's mean the most important exam now is the BEC. If I pass the BEC now, that's mean FAR and REG gonna be lighter in 2024.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's correct. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna pass. But what would
Yes.
you recommend me after let's say I finish the BEC by end of July or something, August? That's when I have plenty of time. Would you recommend me to do the REG or the FAR?
I would recommend to wait if you're asking me,
Oh,
because
okay.
both will be lighter. Both will be
Okay.
lighter.
Okay.
I would start to study, but I will not take the exam in 2023. Again, what you can do is let me just give me 1 moment here. Let me just do this. It's much easier to do this. Farhat. So if you want to know the topics that are being covered, here we go. Like go to YouTube, type Farhat CPA exam changes 2024, and what's happening to FAR, what's happening to REG. I'll explain everything to you in details. Okay, let me send you those. Okay, so you know exactly what's happening, so you don't have to.
You have
guess.
those on your website?
They're on YouTube. I have them on YouTube.
Not on your website. I'm a subscriber of your website.
No, I think I have them on the blog. I have them on the blog, but I don't have them on inside the website. I have them on the blog section.
Okay.
Maybe I should put them on the website. Maybe I should. That's a good idea. Thank you. Maybe it's a good idea. I will add them. But let me just share them with everyone. Let me just share this link and share this link. And I went over each section separately. So you can look at each section separately, what's happening to the old and new blueprint. Okay, let me just take a look at some questions here. I missed them. What should be the strategies 2 weeks before the exam revision? So Sabine, to everyone. Okay, what should be your strategy? Okay, good question. 2 weeks before the exam, what should you do 2 weeks before the exam? 2 weeks before the exam, what you should be doing, you should be focusing on the topics that you are struggling with the most. You're struggling with the most, whatever those topics are. For you could be IT, for others could be operations management. Struggling with topics and taking multiple choice to confirm whether you are on track in terms of preparation. How do you know you're on track? Taking new questions and scoring 80% plus. Do you have any crash course or revision for coming weeks? Again, if I give you a crash course and that crash course does not address your weaknesses, it's useless. So the crash course is you should create your own crash course in a sense that these are the topics I need help with. Now, how can I help you if you're asking me about my crash course? Well, I don't know what topics you're struggling with, but whatever topic you're struggling with, let's assume you are struggling with, just for the sake of illustration, let me just kind of go through the sake of illustration. Let's assume you're struggling with, this is BEC, and let's assume you are taking the Becker exam, BEC Becker. So what you do, if, for example, you're asking me about my course, you would come to my course and you would say, okay, I am struggling, for example, with business processes. Well, you come to my course and you will have a crash course about business processes. Or I'm struggling with a capital structure. You go to my capital structure lesson and you focus on that. So I have a crash course for every topic. But which crash course is the best for you? It's the one that you're struggling with the most. You're struggling with the most. Okay. Any other questions, comments, anything?
Let's say, to make sure that I understand.
Yes.
Let's say, okay, I passed the BEC and I failed
Yes.
the WEG. I failed WEG in 2023.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm gonna try to pass that again.
Yes.
2024.
Yes.
In 2024, they will let me register for the core WEG.
Of course they will. Of course. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 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 2024, it's all new. So I know we're coming up to the 1 hour went very fast. I guess when you have a good time, time flies, right? Here are how you can connect with me: website, LinkedIn, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and I also included my WhatsApp number. I will send all of this in the chat. And there you go. You can have it all. I don't know which one you use. Please connect with me, follow me on Instagram and all that stuff. Which course do you advise a new candidate to take before 2024? I'm gonna, rather than going over the answer, I'm gonna go over the answer quickly, but I do have an article specifically for that. So if you go to my blog, I'm gonna share the blog with you. I would recommend taking BEC and audit in 2023. You have other alternative. This article here will just real quick, real easy reading. It will emphasize this. If I can get rid of reg, this is what I would do. But the person that asked me what should I do is I will get BEC out of the way, And hopefully the map I was showing earlier, it will clarify that point. Why? Any other questions, comments? Let me just go to that. Important dates right here. And that's why I want to get rid of BEC, because I don't have to worry about the specialization. It's not that the specialization will be difficult. We don't know. It could be easier, but just it's better dealing with the devil you know than the one you don't know. Thank you very much, Kerry. Thank you, Uma. Thank you very much. By the way, if you go to farhatlectures.com, I would let free trial. Yes, you could always what am I gonna say? You could always preview lectures, but if you want a free trial, contact Ala, and I'm gonna give her a few free trials. And as long as you register for the summit, you will get a free trial, but Ala will have to make that decision. Kavitha, you're most welcome. I'm glad it was informative. Go ahead, Ala, please.
Thank you so much, Professor, for this amazing session. And it's really very helpful. So what we're going to do is we're offering a 1-month bonus to everyone who enrolls in the BEC Excellence Program. 1 month bonus to farhatlectures.com, which is an amazing website, an amazing encyclopedia of the BEC and the CPA exam materials, actually. So yesterday we talked about the A+ framework. We said that the first A we have, in order to pass the BEC exam, first we must appreciate it, right? Appreciate it. This is the first A. By having the proper mentality, the proper mindset, knowing the why. Why do you want to become a CPA? That should be your start point. You should know why in order to get the motivation and the mentality to pass your CPA exam, right? And the second A is to absorb the material. by understanding the material, by watching lectures, going through those in-depth lectures, understanding the concepts properly. The third A is to apply what you learned. So you're going to go, after you watch the lectures, you're going to solve MCQs in order to confirm your understanding and see how you are doing. And then we have the fourth A, after we apply what we learned, is to assess your performance. So you're going to, based on what you applied, you're going to track your weak areas. If you get scores that are low, that are less than 75% or 70%, these should be your weak areas that you must focus on. And then we have the fifth A, which is to attack your weak areas. You're going to go back to those weak areas, watch lectures again, make sure you ace those areas in order to be able to become an A+ once you master those 5 A's and beat the exam. And so this is what we talked about. And this is the A+ framework in order to be able to ace and beat the BEC exam. Now, under the BEC Excellence Program, we have lectures about every single topic in the BEC. And I can share my screen also. We cover every single topic in the blueprints. So just give me a second. So we're gonna your start point should be always by understanding the concepts before you dive into solving questions. Before you do any other thing, you must understand the concepts. I don't agree with those who say sometimes that you must go to the multiple choice questions immediately or start just solving questions. So let me share my screen and we can see it together. So here's the program, the A+ program, the BEC Excellence Program. Chapter 1, here we have it about the IT, which forms from 15 to 25% of the exam. We have here 4 modules, and these are based on the blueprints. So module number 1 is understanding about the IT. And we have here many lessons covering all the IT topics here in module 1. And then we have also other modules here in IT. We have risks associated with IT, and module number 3, controls that respond to risks associated with IT, and module number 4, data management and relationships. So each of those modules, we have in-depth lectures about everything. For example, accounting information system, processing method, computer crimes, Bitcoins, blockchains, artificial intelligence, and more about those. This is the first area of the blueprint, which is the IT, and it's very important. And then we have the operations management, which forms from 15 to 25%. We cover here also, we have 3 modules that cover in-depth lectures about each topic. So the cost accounting, for example, here, module number 2, we have all those lectures here about the types of manufacturing costs, cost of goods manufactured, spoilage, job order costing, process costing, and so on. And then we have also chapter number 3, which is enterprise risk management. It forms from 20 to 30% of the blueprints of the exam based on the blueprints. We have also 3 modules, and we talk about the ERM, about the COSO, and about all those things. Chapter 4 is about financial management. It forms from 10 to 20% of the exam. We have here also 3 modules. And finally, economics from 15 to 25%. Also, we have 3 modules, and we cover different economic topics, including the law of demand, the law of supply, equilibrium, elasticity, market structures, and so on. So basically, these are what you need in order to absorb the exam content. So this is your A, to absorb the exam content. Now, yesterday, Dawn offered to give you a live workshop next month in June. She's going to give you a live workshop about how to be mentally prepared for the exam. So you're going to cover the first A. You're going to be ready mentally by the workshop that Dawn is going to give you next month. Okay. Now, the second A is to watch the lectures and absorb the material. Now you're going to apply what you learn and assess your weak areas. So we have also the boot camps that we offered yesterday. Also, these are a bonus also to the program. They're going to be live boot camps. And everyone who enrolls in the BEC Excellence Program is going to get access to 8 sessions of the boot camps. They're going to be weekly sessions. These boot camps have 2 main goals. First, to make sure that you are on track, that you are understanding the materials and everything is fine. And second, to hold you accountable, which is very, very important. And then today we're going to offer also for anyone who enrolls in the BEC Excellence Program, exclusive for this event. All those bonuses are only for this event and they're gone. So it's very time limited. We're going to give anyone who enrolls in the BEC Excellence Program a 1-month access to farhatlecture.com as a bonus. Okay, and here you're going to be able to solve questions and assess your weak areas and also attack your weak areas using farhatlectures.com in order to be ready to beat the exam. So with that said, this is our offer. Go to www.passbecnow.com and enroll in order to get the bonuses that we are offering exclusively for this event. These bonuses are time limited. So we want action. We want committed people. Do it right now because this is your chance to pass BEC. We're all here together to let you pass and hold you until you're done, until you're finished. So make sure you go to www.passbecnow.com and enroll in order to get all those bonuses. And these are very great bonuses and very incredible bonuses. And these come only once in life. These are one opportunity in life. They don't come a lot, right? So it's you who determine what you want in the future, what you want to be. And as we all know, we want to finish BEC before it's gone. So make sure you enroll in this program and get the support by everyone here. All of us are here to support you. All those bonuses are for you to support you and get you ready from everywhere in order to pass the BEC exam. Go to www.passbecnow.com and get those exclusive bonuses that are going to be gone soon. These are only exclusive for this event, and then they're going to be gone. So with that said, this is the bonus that we are offering for Professor Mansour, which is he has a great website and great supplementary material that will help you attack your weak areas and understand the concepts. And if there's anything left, you're going to be ready to pass the exam, right? So thank you so much, Professor, for your session today. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, we're always here for you. Just reach out, find a mentor. That your success is our success.
Yes, of course. Yeah, sure. Okay, so we can talk after this session if you want.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to have a small session about absorption costing versus variable costing. So I'm going to share my screen right now. Yeah, in order to, because it's a very important topic for the exam, absorption costing versus variable costing. So can you see my screen? Here's my screen. Yeah, good, great. So first of all, we're going to talk about managerial accounting versus cost accounting. Managerial accounting, from its name managerial, it relates to internal management needs. It's not for external purposes. It focuses on internal decision making, such as decisions about future costs and profitability, right? While the cost accounting, it breaks the costs into product costs and period costs, and it's used for external reporting purposes. So the cost accounting, it's usually known as absorption costing. And again, it breaks the costs into products and period costs, and it's used for external reporting purposes. While managerial accounting breaks the costs into fixed costs and variable costs, and these are used for internal purposes only. And managerial accounting also is known as direct costing. Okay, as we all know, the costs incurred are usually shown in the income statement, and these are shown as cost of goods sold in the income statement, of course, and period costs when incurred. And they are deducted from the revenue to get the net income, right? So we take the revenue minus cost of goods sold, we get the gross profit minus fixed costs in order to get the net profit. Also, the costs they are shown in the balance sheet. How? So any costs related to unsold physical goods are usually shown as inventory in the balance sheet. So any unsold items are shown as inventory. So the costs usually, they either go to the income statement as expenses, or they're shown in the balance sheet as assets, right, for the unsold items. So this is basically where costs are gone. Now, period costs versus product costs, from their name. Period costs are expensed immediately when incurred. In the period they are incurred in, right? So they are expensed in the period they are incurred in, regardless whether the product was sold or not. So if we buy products and we have costs that are incurred, they're going to go to the income statement and be presented as costs. These are the period costs. These include non-manufacturing costs, like the selling and administration costs. And again, they are expensed in the period they are incurred in, regardless if they were fixed admin costs or variable, because we have fixed costs and variable costs. In the period they are incurred in, they are expensed. Product costs, on the other hand, are capitalized first. Okay, so they are reported as inventory in the balance sheet. And then after we put them in the balance sheet as inventory, they're going to be expensed when the product is sold. So we're going to put them as cost of goods sold. They're only included in the cost of goods sold. So this is the big difference between the period costs and the product costs. And the exam always, the BEC exam, you may get multiple choice questions on those, and you must know the difference between period and product costs. Also, we have the fixed costs and variable costs. Fixed costs are the costs that are constant in total. Regardless of the volume produced, they are usually constant over a relevant range in the short run. But the fixed cost per unit, of course, it changes by the change of the volume, because we have a fixed amount divided by the number of volume. So the more volume we have, the less per unit cost we have, right? And the fixed costs, of course, over the long run, they change. And we're talking here, they're always fixed over the relevant range. Now, the variable costs, from their name variable, they vary in total with the change of volume. The more you produce, the more total variable costs we have, right? The total costs equal fixed costs plus variable costs. And the variable costs, of course, they equal the variable cost per unit times the number of units produced. So it's very important to know those concepts for the exam, know the differences between them, know the impact based on the units produced. Now let's talk about the difference between absorption and direct costing methods. So we have two costing methods that are used in many industries, like manufacturing, retailing, and wholesaling. And this is very important to know for the exam, the difference between these two methods. We have the absorption costing, which is called full costing, and we have the direct costing, which is also known as the variable costing or the contribution approach. Now, the absorption costing complies with the GAAP, okay? And it's used for external financial reporting purposes. It divides the costs between product, meaning manufacturing costs, and period costs, which are the non-manufacturing costs. Product costs usually flow into the working process because these are the costs that are used to manufacture the product. So they go into the working process, into the finished goods, as we said, and into the balance sheet as assets. And then when the inventory is sold, they go into the cost of goods sold. Now, absorption costing, it always requires fixed manufacturing overhead costs to be part of the product costs. So this is a major difference between those two methods. Absorption costing requires fixed manufacturing overhead costs always to be a part of the product costs. So for example, if we have machine depreciation, property taxes, and rent, those fixed manufacturing overhead costs, they're going to be a part of the product costs. So they're going to be capitalized. They're not going to go immediately as costs, okay? Now, the direct costing method, which is also called the variable costing from its name, variable, or contribution approach, it does not comply with the GAAP, and it is usually used for internal purposes and for decision-making, okay? Such as break-even analysis, for example, and other decisions. The direct costing divides here the costs between fixed and variable. They do not care about product costs or period costs. They care about whether the costs are fixed or whether they are variable. So this is a big difference between absorption and direct costing. Now, under the direct costing, variable manufacturing costs are required to be shown as product costs. Only the variable manufacturing costs should be shown as product costs, okay? Any fixed costs, they're gonna go immediately as expenses in the income statement. So only variable manufacturing costs are gonna be shown as product costs. They're gonna be only capitalized. And the direct costing, it shows the contribution margin, which is the revenue less all variable costs, okay? So it shows us the contribution margin from its name. It is variable costing. It takes the revenue minus all variable costs and gives us the contribution margin. And it's used again for internal decision-making. It's not for GAAP purposes. It's not for external reporting purposes. It's only for internal decision-making, okay? Now, so this is a major difference between those two costing methods. Under the absorption costing, again, the costs are classified by function. So either we have product costs, manufacturing costs, or period costs. However, under the direct costing, the costs are classified by behavior as either fixed or variable. Okay, this is a big comparison between both of those methods. Another thing is under absorption costing, we consider all fixed and variable manufacturing costs as product costs. So any manufacturing costs we have, regardless if they were fixed or variable, they are all capitalized as inventory. They go to the product, okay, and they go to the balance sheet. And they are expensed only when the inventory is sold. However, under the direct costing, which is the variable costing, we consider variable manufacturing costs only as product costs. So only the variable manufacturing costs are considered as product costs, like direct material, labor, and variable overhead. Any fixed manufacturing costs are immediately expensed. They are deducted from the income statement. They go to the income statement, okay? Also, under absorption costing, fixed and variable selling and administrative costs are considered as expenses when incurred. So the fixed and variable selling and admin costs are expensed immediately when incurred. And under the direct costing, which is the variable costing, we're going to expense all the fixed manufacturing and the fixed and variable non-manufacturing expenses. They are all going to be considered period costs. They are all going to be deducted from the income statement. Okay, so notice here that the expenses under the direct costing, they're more expenses are go to the income statement under the direct costing, because the fixed manufacturing costs are expensed immediately under the direct costing, while under the absorption costing, fixed manufacturing expenses are capitalized first in the balance sheet, and they are expensed only when the product is sold. So that's why we're going to get differences under those two methods. They're going to give us different balance sheet numbers and different income statement numbers, right? The net profit under each of them is going to be different. Now, the absorption costing is not ideal for operational decision making. That's why direct costing exists. That's why we use direct costing, because it is used for management decisions, for break-even analysis, and for internal decisions that they want to take. So this is basically the difference between the absorption and direct costing. And the absorption costing includes fixed manufacturing overhead and product costs and the inventory costs, again, like the factory depreciation, property taxes, and rent, anything related to manufacturing, it goes to the product, as we can see here in this diagram here. And selling and administrative expenses, which are the non-manufacturing, they go only to the period costs. While under the variable, the period costs, as we can see, are more. They include the fixed manufacturing overhead and the selling and administrative expenses. Product costs include only direct material, direct labor, and variable manufacturing overhead. They only include the variable manufacturing costs as product costs. So this is a major difference between both of those methods, okay? Now let's look here at an example of an income statement under both of them. So notice here, if we look at the income statement, in the absorption costing and the direct costing, we have revenues under both of them, and the revenues equal the units sold times the price per unit. Now we're going to put here under the absorption costing, we're going to deduct all the manufacturing costs. They're going to be deducted. The fixed and variable manufacturing costs, they're going to be fixed and variable direct materials and direct labor and overhead. They're going to be considered product costs at the beginning, and then once the product is sold, we're going to deduct them in order to get the gross profit margin or the gross profits. So these are going to be our cost of goods sold once we sell the product. They're going to first be capitalized, and then we're going to deduct them from the revenues as cost of goods sold. While under the direct costing, notice here we only deduct from the revenues the variable costs, including both manufacturing and non-manufacturing. So we're going to get here the contribution margin, not the gross margin. Here we get the gross margin under the absorption costing, while under the direct costing, we get the contribution margin, which is revenues minus all the variable costs we have, okay? Now, under the absorption costing, we're going to deduct from the gross margin all the non-manufacturing costs. We're going to deduct the fixed and the variable, and these here are period costs, meaning that all these non-manufacturing costs are never capitalized, and they are deducted in the period they are incurred in order to get the operating income that we want. While under the direct costing, notice we have here the contribution margin. We already deducted all the variable costs we have, the manufacturing and non-manufacturing. Now here we're going to deduct the fixed from the fixed manufacturing and non-manufacturing in order to get the operating income. And the only costs here in the direct costing that are capitalized are the variable manufacturing costs. These are the only costs that are recorded as inventory in the beginning, and then we expense them when the product is sold only, okay? So this is basically the difference between both of those. And my hint and my best tip when it comes to absorption costing versus direct costing is remember that all fixed and variable selling and administrative costs all the non-manufacturing costs are always treated as period costs under both methods, regardless if you are using absorption costing or direct costing. Always the variable and fixed selling and admin costs are period costs. They are expensed when incurred only, okay? So this is something you must remember in order not to get tricked in the exam. This is a similarity between both methods in order not to get confused and tricked in the exam. Now, let's see here an example of, let's see how to compute the difference, the income difference between the absorption costing and the direct costing. Usually all costs incurred during a period are posted in the income statement, are recorded in the income statement either as cost of goods sold if they are capitalized, or they're going to be period costs once they are incurred, or they're going to be recorded in the balance sheet as the costs are going to be inventory in the balance sheet if they are not sold, right? So the easiest way to track the income difference between the absorption costing and the direct costing, because this is a common question on the exam, they're going to ask you about the difference in the income between those two methods, is to look at the costs posted in the balance sheet, the costs that are capitalized in the balance sheet. And these inventory cost difference will equal the income difference always. The difference in the inventory under both methods should equal the difference in the net income under both methods. The difference between the absorption costing income and the direct costing income is the change in the units multiplied by the fixed manufacturing cost per unit. So we're going to take the change in the units that we have, and we're going to time that by the fixed manufacturing cost per unit. This is going to give us the difference between the absorption costing and the income and the direct cost, the income under the absorption costing and the income under the direct costing. All other amounts on those two income statements are usually the same. And I want you always to remember that regardless of which method we are using, always the selling and administrative expenses are period costs. They are expensed when incurred under both methods. Under absorption costing, the fixed overhead is a product cost that is expensed when sold. Okay, the fixed overhead for units not sold is still in the inventory. We are talking here about the manufacturing costs, the fixed manufacturing overhead costs that are not sold, they are still in the ending inventory. Unless they are sold, they go to the cost of goods sold. Under the direct costing, fixed overhead is a period cost. Okay, it's expensed when incurred immediately. And here is this table that shows us the condition and the impact on each. Usually, if the units sold equals the units produced, the absorption costing income must equal the direct costing income. And the impact on inventory, that we have no change. It's the same on both the inventory under both methods. Okay, so we are going to have to compare the units sold and the units produced. So if the units produced are less than the units sold, then we're going to have an absorption costing income that is less than the direct costing income. And the impact is that the inventory value here is going to decrease, while when the units produced are more than the units sold, the absorption costing income is going to be more than the direct costing income, and the inventory value is going to increase. My hint here is inventory using absorption costing is always higher than the inventory balance using direct costing. Why? Why is the inventory always higher using the absorption costing compared to the direct costing? Because the absorption costing, as we said, it adds all the fixed overhead costs to inventory. All the fixed manufacturing overhead costs are added to the inventory, so they are considered product costs. while the direct costing expenses these costs when incurred. My tip here is that the income difference between absorption costing and direct costing should equal also the change in the units multiplied by the fixed manufacturing cost per unit. This is going to be our difference. So basically, this is the difference between absorption costing versus direct costing. Make sure to understand those concepts properly and go through them in order to master any questions that the exam may ask about those topics. So I hope this was helpful. And if anyone has any questions, I'm ready to go through any questions you have. Yeah. Okay, great. So with that said, I hope all of you have a good day. Enjoy your day. And tomorrow we're going to have Valerie from Gleim CPA Review, and she's going to talk about the written communications section of the exam, of the BEC exam. Okay, so make sure not to miss tomorrow's session with Valerie, and make sure to enroll in the BEC Excellence Program in order to pass and ace the BEC exam and get the bonuses that are exclusive for this event. These are exclusive for this event. They're going to be gone soon. So be sure not to miss those bonuses. They are going to help you for sure pass the BEC in the shortest time and in the shortest route. You're going to get all the support you need and everything from everyone, from different people, from different experts that will help you pass and ace the BEC exam. Tomorrow, we're going to have Valerie from Gleim CPA Review. She's going to talk about the written communications, and she's going to give you her best tips about the written communications. And then I'm going to also, after that, I'm going to talk about the SOC reports, the SOC reports, and the difference between SOC1 and SOC2 reports, because this is a new topic on the exam, and it's a very important topic that everyone must know in the exam. Thank you all for being here and for joining this live. Remember to go to www.passbecnow.com to enroll in the program and get those exclusive bonuses that we are offering for this event only. These are only for this event, and they're going to be gone after this event. So with that said, I encourage you to show up tomorrow. I want tomorrow energy. I want you to be here. Tomorrow is going to be our last day in this 3-day summit, the ACE, the BEC exam summit. And again, our mission is to help as much people as possible ace and pass the BEC exam before the CPA evolution takes place, which is happening soon. The countdown clock began now. As we said, November 15. Starting November 15, no applications are accepted by NASPA for the BEC. The applications are going to stop. You should apply before that. December 15 is the last day to sit for any exam in 2023. So no time left. The evolution is happening soon. Changes are happening soon. It is you and only you who decide what you want in your life and decide whether you want to finish early and rest forever or whether you want to keep it. So I'm sure you are the committed people who are going to take action immediately, and you're not going to wait till the last moment because no time left. And of course, we are all here to help you succeed, and we all believe in you, and we are sure that you are the future CPAs who are going to get the CPA and become the experts in the industry and upgrade your careers and get the prestige you want and make your families happy and make yourself happy and satisfied. So with that said, thank you so much for everyone who joined us today and joined Professor Mansour Farhat, who gave great tips and strategies and great information, who helped us a lot in order to add value and help you pass the BEC exam. I hope all of you enjoy your day and always believe in yourselves. always be satisfied and have gratitude. Be thankful for what you have, because all of us, Allah gave us things that we must appreciate. And I hope you enjoy your day. Goodbye and talk soon. Bye-bye, everybody.